Welcome to Lost Treasures, Episode 1, The Treasures of Lima. The tale of the Treasures of Lima is a thrilling adventure that spans centuries and involves the likes of Spanish conquistadors, pirates, US presidents, British racing drivers, and modern-day treasure hunters. Estimated to be worth over $200 million in today's money, this treasure is believed to be buried somewhere on Cocos Island, off the coast of Costa Rica. Despite numerous expeditions and famous treasure hunters searching for it, the treasures of Lima remain undiscovered to this day. Join me and unravel the mystery and delve into the fascinating history of one of the world's most sought-after lost treasures. The story starts in the 16th century. Spain occupied Peru after defeating the Incas. In the centuries that followed, the Roman Catholic Church gathered a huge treasure in Lima, Peru's capital. This was until the early 19th century, where Spain began to have difficulties with its colonies, due to the wars of independence across South America. Peru was no exception, with the Peruvian War of Independence commencing in 1809. By 1820, Lima came under heavy pressure and finally had to be evacuated. The Viceroy of Lima, Jose de la Serna, decided to transport the treasure hidden within Lima to Mexico until things died down. Assigned to head up this challenge was Britain's Captain William Thompson, who was the commander of a merchant ship neutral to the conflicts called the Mary Dear. At this point, the treasure was estimated to be worth between $12 and $60 million, over $200 million in today's money. The treasure supposedly consists of jewelled stones, candlesticks, and at least one 7-foot solid gold statue of the Virgin Mary holding the baby Jesus. After leaving the port of Callao, whilst on their voyage heading towards Costa Rica, greed got the better of Thompson and his crew. They massacred every priest and guard aboard the Mary Dear and threw their bodies overboard, hoping to get away with the treasure all to themselves. In search of a place to hide, Thompson and his crew fled to Cocos Island, also known as Isla de Coco, and buried the treasure there before going separate ways. They planned to hide out until the time was right and then meet to dig it all back up. Things did not work out this way. The infamous Mary Dear was caught by the Spanish and the crew were put on trial for piracy. All crew members except Thompson and his first mate, James Alexander Forbes, were executed. Thompson and Forbes had spared their lives by agreeing to take the Spanish to the treasure's location. Once they arrived at Cocos Island, however, Thompson and Forbes escaped. They ran into the woods, never to be seen again. Some believe Thompson and Forbes escaped the island on a British whaling ship. Allegedly, both Thompson and Forbes made detailed documents and maps to the location of the treasure. After escaping the island, Forbes became a wealthy businessman in California, keeping the documents and maps he had made in a locked safe where they stayed until passing them on to his eldest son, Charles Forbes. Charles had no interest in treasure hunting and did not attempt to find the treasure. The documents were passed down through generations until finally ending up in the hands of James Forbes IV, who led a team to Cocos Island in search of the treasure in 1939. He returned home, however, without success. He never went back to the island and before he died, passed the documents on to his nephew, William B. Forbes. For Captain Thompson, it is believed he shared the information of the treasure's whereabouts with a seaman by the name of John Keating, who allegedly made an expedition to Cocos Island. According to his quartermaster, Nicholas Fitzgerald, Keating recovered a large portion of the treasure, which was then buried on Coiba Island off the coast of Panama. Allegedly, Keating may have also killed a fellow treasure hunter on Cocos Island and buried his body with the hoard of treasure he left behind. There is a letter held in the Caracas Museum in Venezuela that allegedly includes an inventory of the haul Keating recovered. The inventory includes 12 chests full of altar trimmings of gold cloth, monstrances, chalices, topazes, carnelians, emeralds, rubies, diamonds, Spanish coins, Mexican gold, weapons including swords, daggers and shields, and one 7-foot solid gold statue of the Virgin Mary with the baby Jesus, wearing a gold chasuble adorned with jewels including emeralds, topazes and diamond crosses. Most of the listed treasures are confirmed to have belonged to the cathedral in Lima, notably the fabled life-size figure of the Virgin Mary cast from solid gold. Whether the story of William Thompson sharing his secret of John Keating is true, we might never know. It is possible that James Forbes IV carried out his expedition without knowing this, believing that the treasure remained on Cocos Island when it was not there. The truth remains buried and hidden, just like the treasure of Lima. It is not known whether the treasure is on Cocos Island, Coiba Island, split between the two, or somewhere else entirely. This has not deterred treasure hunters, however. Over the years, hundreds of treasure hunters have led expeditions on Cocos Island in search of the treasures of Lima, but to this day the treasure has eluded all who have gone in search of it, including big names such as ex-US President Franklin Roosevelt, who visited in 1910, British journalist and racing driver Sir Malcolm Campbell, who visited in the 1920s, Australian-American actor Errol Flynn, German adventurer and treasure hunter August Gisler, who spent 19 years on the island and only returned with just 6 gold coins, American gangster Bugsy Siegel, and Kiwi explorer Frank Worsley. The Costa Rican authorities, who did not believe the treasure was on the island, started to get frustrated with the damage treasure hunters were causing to the island. This led them to banning treasure hunting. The island also later became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1997, which further restricted future treasure hunters. In 2012, however, treasure hunter and engineer Sean Whitehead was granted permission to stay on the island for 10 days to hunt for the treasure, as he and his team were also doing a lot of other important scientific work. If they'd found anything during the expedition, however, the promise was that they would alert authorities immediately and stop. His plan was to use technologies never before used in search of the treasure, and a list of most likely spots that focus on areas around 3 of the 4 bays on the island. This gave Whitehead a lot of confidence in his mission. However, since we haven't heard anything about it since, it's safe to assume that the stash is where it has always been and still remains undiscovered. Thank you for joining me on this journey to uncover the mystery of the treasures of Lima. Despite the many attempts to locate it, the treasure remains undiscovered to this day, with many questions left unanswered. Perhaps one day the treasure will be found, but until then, we can only imagine the riches and history that lie buried, potentially on the island of Cocos. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share and comment below, especially if you know more about the treasures of Lima. Be sure to also subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to make sure you don't miss the next video where I explore another lost treasure. Thank you.